We have all heard the saying that confidence is not born, it's built. And honestly, that's only half the story. Because from my experience and raising two kids, and that they are now like 12 and 13, I can tell you that confidence is born. My kids were confident from the moment they came into this world. They were curious and they wanted to explore things. They were like climbing impossible places. They were like breaking things apart just to see what's inside, asking 100 questions like why and how and why again, and never just accepting that because I said so and this is how it is. The kids know how to build confidence. They have the process in themselves. They go about doing what they want to do while knowing they have a safe space to come back to when things get too overwhelming or scary. They don't wait to be told to do things. Actually, most parents, they are more into the job of stopping kids from doing things to keep them safe, right? This is where the confidence process breaks, when we get to stop doing the things that we want to do, and therefore we stop building capability, right? Because if we are capable and we figure things out, and therefore we are actually feel confident because we know what is there. We know how to deal with it. You start to doubt your way, your own instincts, right, to do the things that you want to do, because we start at one point as a kids to trust others more than actually trust ourselves. Confident kids are the ones that they had parents or guardians that instead of actually stopping the kids, they've been there to catch them if they fall. They've been there to actually guide them and show them how things work or how they things fall apart. So they help them to understand, not just stopping them from doing things. Because when we stop doing the things that we want, I think this is the moment that we actually lost connection with the process on how we build confidence. So I'm Felicia Boka, and I'm a solution-focused coach, a leadership coach who works for entrepreneurs, from people that are making their first 10,000. I have clients who are building multi-million-dollar businesses. No matter what level they are, when they come into a coaching session, what they are aiming for is confidence. They want to build a level of clarity of what is exactly that they want, not me to tell them what exactly they have to do. They don't want me to tell them what they have to do. They want to decide from all the things that they want to do what is the most important thing to go about. In the end, they can walk away with an increased level of confidence that they can move into action with more ease, right? So what I've discovered both in my own life and working with clients is that confidence doesn't come from motivational speeches. It doesn't come from, making a lot of positive affirmations. It helps to actually say positive things about you. I'm not saying that. But it's actually the most powerful way that I found is for us to answer empowering questions that helps us clarify more what is exactly that we want and how we want to go about it. Now, what happens like in life or in school or in society, on social media, well-meaning adults that tell us what we do and what we do wrong and what we should stop doing. And slowly, I think it's like eroding us. We don't trust our inner voice anymore. We don't ask our own questions. We walk around with this what if I fail? What if this is the wrong way? Well, I should research more because maybe I will find the trick or the right way. What are people going to say, right? Because we've been stopped by other people. Don't do that. It's not nice. Whatever we are told to stop doing things without having, a process of learning, why are we doing that thing? What does it mean, right? How to navigate relationships in order to actually have healthy ways of interacting. Not only be told not to do. So the questions we are naturally asking as kids, the ones that came from genuine curiosity, the ones that made us feel alive and capable, are what I call thriving questions. I want to share a little story. I grew up in a village in Romania. When I was maybe 14, I started to think about my future and some practical ways to actually get out of there. So my way for that was actually to continue my studies and see who can help me in that direction. future. And I was more interested maybe because of the environment, the conflicting environment. I was more interested in, I was thinking of maybe a teacher or maybe somewhere like a psychologist, I don't know. But my mother said, like, if you want to get out of here, the best way is like study economics, because you are going to find a job easier. It's going to assure your future. And I wanted so bad that I applied when I was the time to apply for university. I applied to psychology, but also applied to economics. And in the end, I got into both, but I did choose economics to continue. But then I wondered, why during my studies I was feeling so depleted, right? So I was studying, reading psychology books on the side while also studying accounting. And I finished the study and I did take a job in accounting, and I tried really, really hard to get good at something that I didn't like. So it wasn't like a fit for my personality. I was pushing myself to actually get curious or interested or study things that were not inspiring for me. Most of the evenings I was depleted, I was crying, right? So I was exhausted. And I do remember one day my boss back then when I was working in accounting said at lunch that if I had to choose again, actually I will not start on this line of work. There's so many things changes, it's not scalable, you're always dealing, like you're literally managing what already happened in a company, like the invoices, and you're dealing between a company and the laws that are given. So it's always like you are just a ping pong in the middle. You're not actually doing something, you're just managing. So I said, like, do I want to be sitting here in 10 years from now saying the same thing? It was not long after that actually I quit. So I did move into another job in sales and a travel agency, and that was more exciting for me because I was interacting with people. I felt like I was growing, I was interested in learning more. So my confidence, for sure at that point, I was feeling more confident in myself, right? So imagine having a job that you hate and you don't feel confident. So you don't feel confident because it's not actually the thing that sparks curiosity, that is lifting up, is uplifting you, or you want to do it. You don't do it just because it has a paycheck and it's basically surviving. We want to thrive, we want to explore. Confidence is either reinforced and build and becomes, you become more capable as you do the things that you want to do, versus you doubt yourself and you shrink yourself because you are not taking action towards the thing that you want to do. Now, I mentioned that actually specific questions in the coaching sessions are actually helping people to reconnect with their own confidence. You can build confidence in real time, but actually directing specific questions are empowering the person. So this is something that you can start doing yourself today. So there are 4 types of questions I work with. Think of them as a loop. They all build on each other. So first of one is the awareness question. So this is where it starts. You have to catch yourself when you're spiraling, when you feel stuck, when you feel that you doubt yourself, when you have the imposter syndrome. You pause and you notice, what questions am I asking myself right now? Do you ask yourself, like, what is wrong with me? Why is this happen? Why isn't this happening fast enough? Why can't I get it all together? I should be further ahead right now. These questions don't give you clarity, they instill even more self-doubt. And the more you ask them, the more stuck you feel, because it creates a vicious cycle. You cannot work with the answers to these questions. You cannot move forward. The first move is simply to notice. And so, okay, I'm asking actually survival questions. That's what is keeping you stuck and so low emotionally. So once you see it, you can shift it. The second stages of questions is the outcome questions, right? Like once you have the awareness, instead of focusing on what is wrong, we ask, what do you actually want here? So this sounds simple, but you would be surprised, even at the highest levels, people default to telling me what they actually don't want. So I don't want employees who come to me for every little thing, or they expect me to make every decision or step in when actually they could have solved it. I don't want to feel this overwhelmed. Okay, so now, but what do you want more of? How do you want your team to show up? What does a great day look like to you? When you define the outcome clearly, when you can see it in your own mind, it's like turning lights on a dark room. Suddenly you can see and you can move towards it. That clarity, this is where confidence starts to move into action, because now you're going towards the things that you want, not away from the things that you don't want. And this is like a big difference. Now there are resource-based questions. This is where most people skip it, and this is actually the more valuable, because now if they see the outcome, they see what is exactly that they want, the only way the mind starts to focus on the gap between where they are and what is actually the outcome. We've trained by evolution or society to look at this gap of what is actually missing and what is not working, what is broken, and this keeps us feeling like we are never enough. We are always behind. So what would you focus on the things that are working? What about the progress that you already made? And this was something that people are always surprised to actually realize how much progress they have actually made since the last month, or compared to last year, or compared to the last week even, right? And so when I'm asking like what's already working well, and then they realize how much actually they've done, and that is reassuring, that is empowering, right? So even if they have like a failed marketing campaign, instead of what a disaster and what a mess and who is at fault, the real question in this resource gathering aspect is like, what do you know now that you didn't know before? Therefore you reframe, and it turns from a failure into a lesson. Instead of gathering evidence for incompetence, you gather evidence for growth and what you can do differently. Now, when you start to measure resources, you measure your own progress, you gather this evidence that there is progress. This is incredibly energizing. That's actually what builds confidence. It's not a fake thing, right? Like just believe in yourself, and you have real evidence that shows you that you are growing, that you're improving, that things are moving in the right direction, that you still have elements that are working well, that you can do more of those things. If you want to shift your energy from doubting yourself to actually feeling more confident, is to actually ask this question: what is already working well? What is already good? What's the progress that has been made? What do I want more of? You measure and you look for the elements of progress. The fourth set of questions that I do ask, they are called momentum questions. I call them momentum questions. This is where actually the real magic happens. This is a game changer, because no matter how much we are aware what is it that you want, no matter how much we are aware of our resources and what was the progress that we've made, what we really have to focus on and what creates real change and improve your confidence is actually knowing what would be like the progress and the signs of progress. So basically you establish here priorities of what is important to take action on. So what action feels aligned with the outcome that you want, with the progress that has been made. And at times we all need is like a smaller step that would tell us that we are on the right track. It's going to give us a boost of confidence. Here's the truth: no matter how much planning and thinking and organizing and perfecting you do, the only thing that actually builds lasting confidence is taking action and getting feedback from reality as a way of a resource instead of as a failure, and acting from that. I just want to see what is going to happen, like test it against reality, instead of how can I make sure that this is not going to fail. It's like, okay, what's the action that is going to give me the fastest feedback if this is going to work or not? And this is where actually real confidence is made. And you can see it, like I took this example for kids, but they don't shy away from actually trying new things and see if it works and take feedback, right? So that's how we learn. The point is, like someone who walks out of a coaching session, is to actually have 2 or 3 clear and aligned actions that they can see connected to what they want. So therefore, they feel now confident to take action on. And now there's another distinction that I want to bring it up when it comes to confidence, and I've seen with people that are actually getting stuck or people that are moving forward, is that entrepreneurs who make it are the ones who actually have this distinction between being and doing. They don't think like if they make a mistake, if they fail, if things don't work out as they wanted, if they have a setback, they don't make it personal. They don't make it about themselves. I am failing. It's like they think about the doing is wrong, or we need a different perspective, or we need to set up the system in a different way in order to make it work. So it's always about something that is from outside that can be easily changed. So it's the doing is chaotic, right? The doing is messy in this world. But when you think about your being beautiful and worthy and complete, way much easier to actually change the way things are. Oh, it didn't work. It failed. It's not like I am a failure or, oh, maybe I'm not good enough. It was like, okay, so what do I have to learn here? Like, you focus on taking that feedback onto improving the doing. That's even why you take coaching, for example, not because they think, oh, I'm broken, something wrong with me, I need someone to, tell me what to do or something. I want to actually dig into myself. I want to clarify for myself what is it that I want, where do I want to move towards. And what I need is a different perspective. And I need is that this clarity, because with that, then I can implement better. I can make the decision, the changes necessary. And so let's wrap it up. Like, we are actually born confident. We have that curiosity. We want to explore. We like to ask a lot of questions. So if we reconnect with that, therefore, we are actually engaging with the process of building confidence. And the last thing is like, you don't make it about you make it about the process. Something needs to be changed in the environment or in your processes until you figure it out. It's nothing wrong with you that it doesn't work the first time. That's kind of the process. And in the end, the more we focus on the things that are actually helping us to build confidence, like outcome-based questions, like what exactly do I want out of this meeting, instead of stepping in a meeting and not knowing what are the outcomes and only reacting to the things that I've not done, or focusing on, what is already the progress that has been made, and focusing on what is the next required questions and move from there. Keeping this mindset and these questions are very much empowering and helpful tools to keep yourself into the process of building whatever level of confidence you you're aiming for in what area. Okay, thank you so much, and see you in the next one.